Hey you guys, good morning. Got my Hawaiian gear on today for homecoming week. I wanted to make a quick video to review with you the main idea process, or rather for you guys to teach the main idea process. So just like every other process that we have, there's 4 main steps. In the main idea process, as with all the processes, you have to read first. So we're going to give you a passage or a paragraph, or you're going to choose a passage or a paragraph. You have to read that carefully. Of course, visualizing in your mind as you go. But step 1 with the main idea process is to come up with a topic. We want to try we would like to try for that to be just 1 word. If you need like 2 or maybe 3 words, that's fine. But we want an umbrella topic that will cover everything in the passage or paragraph. So you read it and you ask yourself like, okay, if I had only 1 word to say what this is about, what is that 1 word? And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. So once you have that 1 word, then you go to step 2. Step 2 with main idea is simply to guess what you think the main idea is. So I always say about main idea that it's simple, not easy. Lots of kids will get main idea questions wrong because they overthink it. So you have to remember that it's simple, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. So going back, you've got your topic from step 1. You ask yourself, okay, what about this topic does the author want me to remember? So let's say your topic is tigers. What about tigers am I supposed to remember from what this author has written in this passage or paragraph? And so you have to kind of think through the details there. Okay, I know this about tigers. I know this. I know this. How do I summarize that into a 1-sentence main idea? Couple of things that kids get confused about based on how this is taught, like in elementary school, maybe even in middle school. A main idea has to be a statement, a full sentence. It can't just be 1 word or a quick phrase. It has to be a statement. So if our topic were tigers, then a main idea about tigers might be something like tigers are the most dangerous predators in said region. That's a main idea. Then you want to check it, just like a math question. So sometimes when you have a simple math problem to solve, you go through the process really quickly, you get the solution. But you want to go back and be able to check your steps to make sure that you didn't jump to a conclusion or you didn't come to a solution that is incorrect. So the way that you check your answers with main idea is you go back to the passage or paragraph and you identify, I'd like you to highlight the details that you think support the main idea that you've chosen. If you're highlighting a bunch in that passage or paragraph, it's a great main idea. Go with it. You've got it. If you have your main idea in mind and you go back to highlight things in that passage or paragraph and you find like, oh my gosh, I'm not highlighting anything, it's because you're wrong. So scrap that main idea, go back to your topic, ask yourself that question again, and then base it on details. Then the 4th step is something that's really upper level thinking. It's basically, why is this main idea important in the context of the whole passage? So we'll take a look at that in a minute. So this is our main idea process. Again, skim the passage, get your topic, make a guess about what the main idea is, and then check your answer by finding details, remembering that if you can't find details, it's because you're wrong, and that sends you back up to maybe step 1, maybe step 2. Step 4 is what I was talking about before. So it's determine the function of this main idea in the passage as a whole. And so we're giving you sentence starters here. Does this main idea describe something or list something or characterize, provide, reveal, explain, intensify, suggest, argue? There are more sentence starters or words that you could start your sentences with, but that will get you the practice that you need until you're comfortable kind of figuring that out on your own. So let's go ahead and look at an example here together. So this is a paragraph from The Hunger Games, one of my favorites. So it says, sitting at Prim's knees, guarding her, is the world's ugliest cat. Mashed in nose, half of 1 ear missing, eyes the color of rotting squash. Prim named him Buttercup, insisting that his muddy yellow coat matched the bright flower. He hates me, or at least distrusts me. Even though it was years ago, I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him in a bucket when Prim brought him home. Scrawny kitten, belly swollen with worms, crawling with fleas. The last thing I needed was another mouth to feed, but Prim begged so hard, cried even, I had to let him stay. It turned out okay. My mother got rid of the vermin, and he's a born mouser. Even catches the occasional rat. Sometimes when I clean a kill, I feed Buttercup the entrails. He has stopped hissing at me. Entrails, no hissing. This is the closest we will ever come to love. Okay, So when I read that paragraph, I go and ask myself, all right, well, what's the one thing? Can I sum it up in one word? What's the one word that gets mentioned a bunch? To me, it's cat. I think this paragraph is about a cat. So then I come down and I go, okay, well, I just read the paragraph and I'm a pretty smart person. So I'm going to ask myself, what about the cat does the author want me to remember? Now, I created this exercise where you write a really short main idea, 6 words or fewer, and then you write a longer one to kind of show you the difference between simple and then taking it to the next level. So if I were going to think about this particular paragraph, I'd say, okay, what about the cat am I supposed to remember? And in my head, I go, well, she hates him and he hates her. So Katniss and Prim's cat hate one another. I think I'm one word over there, so I could even simplify it by just saying they hate one another. Now, that's not great because we don't know who they are, but we get the opportunity to revise it down here. So in this one, if I get 12 or more words, so now I'm going to say Katniss. We might have to call her the main character because we don't know her name yet, but Katniss hates Buttercup, the cat, but they have a mutual appreciation for each other's talents. So Katniss likes that Buttercup can catch mice, and Buttercup likes that Katniss feeds him. So now we just go back into the text and highlight details which support our main idea. So we're trying to prove that Katniss hates Buttercup the cat and that they have a mutual appreciation for each other's talents. Okay, so first of all, she calls him the world's ugliest cat, which I think is not very nice. Then she describes him. That's why he's ugly. We've got he hates me, or at least distrusts me. And then we can keep going. Even though it was years ago, he still remembers how I tried to drown him. So, like, I think all that supports the fact that they don't like each other very much. She says the last thing I needed was another mouth to feed. I think I don't want somebody saying that about me. So that means they don't like each other. And then down here, you have where like they have this mutual appreciation, at least for what the other can, that was wrong, what the other can do for them. So now when I look back at this, fix this real quick. There we go. When I look back at this, look at how much of that passage is highlighted. So I know that I'm correct. If I had less, if I only had like one of those things highlighted, I would have to go back and start over because I would know that I'm incorrect. This particular worksheet doesn't ask us to do step 4, but if we go back to step 4 and we're trying to determine the function of this main idea or passage as a whole, well, to me, this describes Katniss's relationship with this cat, which isn't that important, right? If you know the Hunger Games, you know the cat is not like this huge main character or anything. But I would say it reveals Katniss's character and shows that she's very pragmatic. She doesn't have a whole bunch of like romantic notions about anything. She just looks for efficiency and efficacy in how she deals with things. But also it shows she'll do anything for her sister Prim, who wanted the cat in the first place. So that sums up the idea of finding main idea. Once again, I acknowledge that you've been doing this for a long time, right? Ever since you've been reading. My first grader comes home with main idea on his homework and also comes home with context clues on his homework. So I know that you've been doing this since first grade. However, when the complexity of the text changes, we think that these thinking processes are a good idea to use. And so sometimes what we offer you might be easy, and you might say, I don't need that thinking process, the same way you do in math class. But eventually, you're going to need the process, whether it be in my class or junior year or on your SAT or your PSAT. And so the more that you're willing to practice these processes on things that you say are easy, the better you're going to know it when the time comes. Kind of like driver's ed, right? You practice in all these situations that are fairly safe. That's because when it comes to a situation where it's unexpected and it's difficult, they want all those skills ingrained in your head. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help us going forward in this unit.